Hello and welcome back to another episode of Tash Teaches. I'm Tash, and in today's video we're going to be making a little bit of music in the Bitwig 6 beta. However, we're not going to be drawing in any notes, we're going to be writing words and having those words be transformed into deliciously evolving music patterns. So without further ado, let's jump right in and I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. So some of you may already be familiar with a tool that I launched about a week and a half ago entitled Sequins, and I launched the first of what I'm calling a suite of intuitive browser-based MIDI sequencers, gestures. And gestures allowed you to draw shapes and have those shapes be mapped to specific MIDI notes and to create all sorts of magical evolving things. I'm not going to dive into that. Watch a video up above. Wherever this is linked if you'd like to dive more into that. But I'm actually more excited about the brand new sequencer I've just launched today entitled Words, which, as it says, type text to generate melodic MIDI sequences with scale-aware patterns. What is this? Well, I've become absolutely obsessed recently with trying to find kind of backwards ways to make music. I've been producing for so long now that it doesn't matter how many things I know, I sit down and I end up running into the same fucking patterns again and again. I sit at a piano and if I'm not careful, I'll end up playing the same D minor 9 into the F major 7, and it's just a bit tiring. Similarly, if I go into Bitwig, and I start trying to create like a MIDI pattern or something, I'll often end up just drawing things in the same place, or potentially I'll do some sort of like randomized generator. And the problem with random is that after a while, it doesn't really give the listener or even you as a creator anything to really latch onto. And so it just feels a bit meandering and lacking in soul. So I've become increasingly interested in ways that I can use existing data from other things than music and then sort of magically transform that into music and in a way that could create actually interesting patterns. So that's what led me to creating this Sequins.music platform. Is I wanted to just start creating all of these ways that not just myself, but I could offer to you guys fun and exciting ways to be able to make music in ways that perhaps we haven't able to before. So how does this work? First of all, I'm just going to go back over to Bitwig for a second, and I have loaded up here just a standard little sine wave, as we always fucking do in every single one of these videos. We've got a polymer playing a sine wave. But I'm going to go back over here and I want to show you how this works. So I've clicked MIDI, we're now connected to the IAC bus driver on my Mac, and I'm just going to type in a little sentence here. So I'll say, hello, friends of YouTube, how are you? I don't know why I'm typing in all caps, but it looks kind of cool. So as soon as I now press enter, I actually need to make sure that I'm playing as well. As soon as I now press enter, notice what happens. So that's now sending a melody into Bitwig, and if we were to actually record this clip here, you can see that it's recording not just different notes, but different length notes and also different velocities of said notes. Let's just go back and pause this for a second so we don't lose our minds. You can see that if I now stop this clip, we've got different velocities. And this is a really interesting way to actually come up with melodies because, of course, God knows what that's going to sound like. You really don't know until you've tried it. Before I dive any deeper into this, though, just for any of you nerds out there who are wondering how this works, and also whether or not these things are repeatable, i.e. if you were to type the same sentence, would it give the same results? Yes. It's like learning a new language, except it's very confusing to learn. The way that I actually set this up is we've got a couple of little rules here, which is that I wanted to map each letter to a number. So A is 1, B is 2. I'm a big fan of astrology and numerology, so I kind of like fused all of my passions into one. Obviously, in a scale, we're only really going to have about max 7 notes. Maybe we'll have 8 sometimes, but most of the time we're going to have around 7 notes. So what do we do if we have 26 values? Well, it sums all of the letter values, and then it modulos it to 7 and adds 1. The adding 1 prevents it from ever giving a 0, which of course would be the 0th note in a scale, which we don't want. So for example, the word cat is a C is equal to 3, A is 1, T is 20. That ends up being 24. And if you then keep adding 7 into 24 and add 1, you end up with 4, yada, yada, yada. The actual word, the note that is made of a word, so if I just said word and press play, this note is being decided upon by adding together all of those letters. Also, note duration, because as we looked here, you can see that some of these notes are longer than others. Obviously, it's not being super obvious because of the fact that we've got a pretty short pluck sound here, but this is then actually the syllables. So the amount of syllables in the word dictates the length of the note. So beautiful would be a 3/16 note word. Also, you could actually take multiple words. So we could say like beautiful, beautiful. Now that's 6. So if we were to look at that, this is a far longer note. I'm actually just going to stop that there because, of course, we've got this metronome going on, and I'm going to show you how to get this all synced up in time. But you don't have to use real words either. You can start fusing words together, and you could even just make things up. So, you know, what does this sound like? Let's have a little listen. Got to, of course, go back in here and just make sure that we are... Oh, I didn't press enter. So there we go. There's another interesting melody. Final few things here before we dive in. Rest between words. This was an important one because one of the things that I found when I was using the gestures device is because of the fact that the gestures device plays continuous notes, but with the spacing between them being based off of a prime number, it meant that if you only had a couple of notes, it's actually pretty boring after a while because you don't end up having either any space between the words, but you also don't have note duration. So what's cool about this is we take the sum of the first word plus the sum of the second word, divide it by 2, and then we round it up, modulo 4 and add 1, again, just to make sure that we don't end up with any 0 spaces. I do always want to have a little bit of a space between a note. Velocity is then, we've just added 50 to make sure that we have useful values. It takes the first letter value minus the last letter value. So cat here takes 3 minus 20, you know, all of that kind of jazz. Octave selection, similar. We've also got a few things down here about CC values. These are actually not working at the moment. I turned those off because I was playing around with something else. They'll probably be back on by the time we start working with this. But anyway, how do we make this actually useful? Because there's a couple of like really quite fun hidden parts to this that you wouldn't really expect to be as useful as they are. But I'm just going to go in here. And of course, the first thing I want to do is just go in and make sure that under synchronization, I have my MIDI clock set to my IAC bus driver. If you're on a PC, you'll need to go and use RT MIDI or Loop MIDI or something like that. Also, I'm sorry that you're on a PC. But still, I actually have to set it on my Mac to have about 85 milliseconds of delay. Would you call it delay if it's forwards? I don't know, or maybe that's backwards, I'm not even sure. But either way, you may have to tinker around with this. I usually just do a word, like I just say cat or something, and that'll be a 16th note. I keep it playing with the metronome and I adjust that in real time. But once I've got that set up, all I have to do is turn this on, and you can see that it's now playing because it's playing here. As soon as I stop, it stops. As soon as I press play here, it starts playing in Bitwig, which of course means that I won't keep the metronome on forever, but if I now say something like, there we go. Now cat is coming through, it's perfectly in time. I say perfectly in time, almost perfectly in time, but now let's turn that off. Let's just stop this. Let's get rid of that metronome because we don't want to make it actually a good bit of music now. So I'm also going to take, I've got a little kick drum here, because I do want to make sure that we're staying on rhythm. And I thought that we could just spend, how long have I been waffling on for so far? I've been talking for probably about 7-ish minutes. So I thought we could just make something from scratch. And also, little side note, I'm really enjoying playing with Bitwig 6 yet, so far, but I don't really have anything to necessarily say yet. So this isn't explicitly like a Bitwig 6 tutorial. But I will be sharing my thoughts on some of my favorite features in the next few days, but I didn't just want to jump on doing another one of these videos of here are the new features. So I thought instead, why don't we explore Bitwig 6 through the realm of just making something really fucking cool. So I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to go and change the scale to, I've been really into major pentatonic lately, and I don't really know why that is, but I want to just try and make something here. So let's get rid of this. I'm just going to call this pluck. And I'm going to go back in here and I want to create a song based off of some sort of interesting feeling. So I am a big fan of beef jerky. Seems like a very important message that I need to spread far and wide. So I'm just going to press enter and press play. Cool. And now straight away, we've got a pattern going. It's in time in Bitwig. And what's nice is I can add another pattern as well. So I could say also built on. I spelled biltong wrong, so I can actually click on it and press E to edit. That's a really nice pattern. I'm not mad about excessively fatty biltong. That's really, really nice. And of course, I put the transpose preset system that I have put in the gestures app, so you can now in real time transpose it up and down by scale degrees. And of course, if I were to do something a little bit shorter, for some reason I'm really finding that the words pain and gain add something quite nice. I don't know why, but I'm going to bring this in and it's going to have a little bit more of a repeatable pattern because they're both quite short words. And I can actually click on things and press M to mute. Now, of course, it wouldn't be that fun if we were only keeping one sound. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to load up another polymer. I'm going to change this to a sawtooth, maybe bring this down a little bit. I'm going to make it mono. Now I'm going to go in here and just make sure that the input isn't set to all ins. I want to set this to actually be just channel 1 of IAC bus driver. And you'll see why in a second. I'm going to now take this and call this bass. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to change this to IAC bus driver 2, or channel 2 should we say. Just make sure that we've got, you know, a little bit more interest to this, bring the filter down a touch. Maybe we'll do velocity brings this open a little bit more. And I'm going to go back, just make sure that this is enabled, because all I'm going to do now is type /2, and now whatever it is that I type is actually going to be sent out of channel 2. So bass seems to respond quite well to the word bass. I don't know why that is. And of course, because all of these words, there's a chance that one of these words may respond the same as a word before, but we don't have to always put different words after each one. So sometimes just using the same word a few times, bass a few times, bass, fun, haha. So, or maybe we'll just get rid of that haha for now, just keep it on one line. You'll see, as soon as I press enter now, this is going to be the same note, which is going to be really helpful. Oh, one final thing. Let's bring this down a couple of octaves, just so it's in the bass range. And are you ready? And of course, we have this wonderful polymetric cycling experience going on here because of the fact that none of these things are a bar long or 2 bars. They are cycling around each other in just the most wonderful ways. So now that we've got a bass sound, why don't we add in maybe like an 808 rim shot? I'm going to call this rim because it could be kind of nice to have a little bit of percussion going on here. So let's do channel 3, enable it, and I'm going to go in here. And why don't we say channel 3, rim shot, rimmy, rim, rim. And it's nice, it's almost like a Euclidean rhythm, but And of course we don't have to just keep that on one pattern, we can do something else. So we could do a little bit of the old painless, gainless, pain, gain, balls. Kind of nice that. Maybe we could make it so that velocity does something to it beyond just what we've currently got. Maybe we'll do velocity brings noise in. Really, really nice. Let's also just add a little bit more velocity to this as well. Could do something to the pluck as well while we're at it. Let's do velocity controls skew a bit. It's really, really nice. Let's do velocity controlling this a touch as well. And of course we could bring in all sorts of actual Bitwig versions of the modulators to get stuff going. But for now, why don't we also add in a hat? I've been enjoying the V8 hat. And then for this V8 hat, why don't we... Oh shit. Let's change this to channel 4. Enable this. Let's call this hat. And for the hat, we could just keep it relatively simple. We could just say hat. Let's just make this channel 4. It's not being sent. That's very nice, that. Now, why don't we also just bring velocity sensitivity in here. And we'll do velocity, also brings in a bit of color. And then we'll bring something else in on that same channel. So we'll say hitty, hatty, hatta, hoota, hat. And now it's a fusion of those two. Bring a bit of dirt in. Maybe we'll also bring velocity control noise down a bit. Maybe we'll actually edit this to say hatta, hat, hat, hatta. There we go. We don't need to have that just 16th note thing. We can easily just draw that in on MIDI. So why don't we just also, while we're at it, bring the transpose down. Now, one of the things that you'll notice is that it doesn't sound great always to just move everything all at once. I'm going to pause it for a sec, because one of the things that I mentioned in the gestures one is that it is pretty unmasterful a lot of the time to play a chord and to just move your whole hand up. Ideally, what we want to do is to keep some semblance of what we call a pedal tone, i.e. certain parts of a pattern or a chord progression staying the same throughout time. And this is actually pretty easy to do on a pattern basis here. I'm just going to mute some of these just to show you what I mean. I'm just going to turn these off. And let's just press play on this first one. I'm a big fan of beef jerky. If I were to move this down now, this is moving the whole pattern. Every one of these corresponding notes is being moved down now by 3, not semitones, but scale degrees. So sometimes that might be 1 semitone, sometimes it might be a whole tone. But if I bring in this also biltong line as well, absolutely amazing. You can see that they're both moving, which is of course very nice. But if we click this little lock icon here, I'm going to mute this just so that we can hear what also biltong sounds like. Very nice. So if I now move this transpose, nothing happens. However, if I bring this back in now, so now we're having this really nice experience where we have some semblance of stability in that melody. And I could bring this up really high. And this is really helpful as a way to create that sense of consistency. Also, you may or not be familiar with the transpose preset system I created down here, which allows you to basically set a value that you already like. So I like going down -2. And all I have to now do is press the 2 key on my laptop. And I can press the 1 key to go back to 0. Maybe we'll do +2. And I'm just jamming out by doing that. Let's bring some of these other patterns in. Let's maybe bring pain gain in. Maybe we'll lock pain gain as well. I actually preferred that not being locked. Maybe we could lock one of these melodies. Let's bring back in the I'm Not Mad About Excessively Fatty biltong. Let's bring the whole thing down by 2. So this is a prime example of one that doesn't, I think, really need to come down. This is such a characteristic melody that keeping that still while everything else moves would actually create a really nice harmonic sound. So I'm going to lock this guy as well. And then let's see what happens if we bring I'm a big fan of beef jerky and pain gain down 2 while keeping the others in their position. Maybe we'll go down 3 before we then go up. Maybe we'll actually go down 1. Oh, that's really nice. Nice, let's bring the bass in now. I'm gonna go back to 0. Let's bring it down 2. Bring it up 1. Oh, that's really, really beautiful. Let's bring in these percussion ones. I'm going to lock these straight away because I don't want them. They're not actually going to change pitch anyway. But if it were a sample, maybe I wouldn't want them to change pitch. So let's bring these in. Really, really lovely. Now, I would just love to add in some sort of like little shaker loop or something. I think there's an egg here that's kind of nice. I'm going to take that. Let's just quantize this audio. Weird thing, Bitwig 6 bug, is if you go to actually quantize the audio, it changes you to a piano screen. Super fucking weird. You then have to go back here and it hasn't necessarily even done it. So you actually have to do it without the shortcut, unfortunately. Let's just go in here, make sure, quantize audio, nice. So let's bring this in. I'm going to bring the volume down on this. Let's go back to here, change the pitch. Maybe we'll do one that goes up, like 4. Really nice. Okay, why don't we make some sort of little pad sound? Before we do that, why don't we add a little conga loop? Maybe we'll just half the length of this. Do the old quantize audio, bring the volume down. That's really, really lovely. Okay, I do want some sort of kind of pad sound now. So I'm going to take another polymer here. I'll do a nice big long attack, bigger decay, some sustain. I'm going to turn off the still same key. Maybe I'll add an LFO. We'll use that on the skew, make it a little bit faster. Maybe we'll take another LFO and use that to control the speed of this, but not on bipolar and a bit slower. And maybe we'll bring the amount of this down a little bit. I don't know how this is going to sound, but let's just call this pad. We'll call this conga. Just for good measure, let's just turn these off so we don't get fed up with that melody. That's fucking stunning. I would never come up with that as a pattern. Okay, let's also add a huge amount of reverb to this. Let's get that out of the way. Let's add a delay, and then we'll add a bit of the old soft. Let's have a look just to see how this sounds at first. Maybe a little bit more attack like this, bigger release, and I don't know how this is going to sound on its own. Let's just try it. Okay, that's really, really, really lovely. But what I'm going to do is just set this to channel. I mean, the nice thing is as well is if I were even to just bring this in, the cool thing is because this is set to all ins, this pad is actually being sampled by everything, or it's playing everything. Oh, that's really, really nice. I'm actually just going to do a note, or do a transpose, and then I'm going to group this. What scale are we in? We're in major pentatonic. Well, while we're at it, why don't we just use one of the new features? We'll do C major pentatonic here. Make sure that this is on. It doesn't really matter for what I want to do. Let's just do okay. I don't need anything in here. I just want this so I can do an octave up. Let's go back to the old mix. Let's go up 4. That's just so, so beautiful. I'm a huge fan of that. I do want to add some form of hi-hat. Maybe this one. I don't know if this is the right hat for the occasion, but I do just want a pretty steady. Let's go back. Why don't we also do one where we go up 6? really nice. Now, of course we have this melody muted. Oh, that's really, really nice. But why don't we actually change that? So I'm going to duplicate this pluck, and I'll change this to channel 5. Yep, channel 5. And we'll call this lead. And I want to change the sound of this a bit. So I'm going to go to sawtooth, and I'll do LFO, and I'll make the shape of this pretty fast. Maybe we'll do pulse, actually, seeing as we already have a sound going on. Yeah, we've already got a sound which is a sawtooth in that bass. So we'll do something like this. Let's see what this actually just sounds like all in. Okay, that's really, really nice. Just for good measure, I'm going to take a note counter, make this 3 steps, and then we'll do something with the decay here just to make it nice and short. I'm going to do another one, and I'm going to do this for noise maybe, but we'll make this 5 steps. And then we'll also do a couple of randoms. We'll do a note, sync, hold, and then we'll do this for panning. So that the actual lead we're going to be playing is going to be sort of jumping all over the place. We'll duplicate this again, do one for the decay, duplicate it again, do one for the decay of this. Again, another one. I'm so sloppy with this. Let's just bring this down there. And let's have a little listen. Okay, so why don't we actually change this to now channel 5. So when I bring this in, it's now going to be sending it through this lead synth. So here we go. And of course you can just jam by turning them on and off in real time. So that's nice, but I think I'm going to bring the volume of that down a little bit. Maybe even bring the octave down. Not up, down. Maybe a bit of attack. We'll do some sort of like longer delay. Oh, that's just really quite magical. Why don't we actually now mute some of these other sounds? So I'm going to start to bring out the pluck. Let's find some sort of nice clap. Maybe we'll do, we'll look at my actual samples for a clap. That'll do. I'm going to go in here, make it nice and short, bring the volume down a little bit. I'm also going to map the Q key to mute the kick off. Maybe we'll also mute the hat. Oh, I guess it's being a bit of a bitch because of the fact that that's one thing I do like about Ableton that I only just realized, which is that it's Command K to deal with keyboard shortcuts and Command M to deal with MIDI shortcuts, and obviously Bitwig does both. So if you have MIDI coming in live, it will fucking map stuff to it in a way that you really don't need. So anyways, let's have a little listen. If I press the Q key now, I should be able to mute some of these sounds. Maybe we'll mute this hat as well with the same thing. So if I were to now go back here and press play, maybe we'll mute the rim as well. Oh, same thing. Come on, go back. We'll turn that off and do Q. Okay, there we go. So now we have the ability to mute all of the drums at once. Well, not all of them, just the important ones. While we're at it, why don't we also take the old peak limiter, add a bit of crunch. Now maybe because we are in Bitwig, we might as well also just create a couple of macros. I'm going to create one here that makes everything a little smaller. So I'm going to go to the bass and we're going to make this smaller. Let's go to the pluck. We're also going to make the pluck a bit smaller. Let's go to the pad, and we'll make that more filter. Volume down a bit. Okay, that's really nice. Why don't we also take the EQ, and I'm just going to use this to slightly bring down the high end of the shaker. Okay, that's really nice. So now when I press Q, let's go back here and see if we can't do some fun things with now shifting it up and down. Huh, that's so beautiful. Maybe we'll turn off lock on biltong. Bring it back on. Oh, just so beautiful. I should really be recording all of this. Let's take the record buttons, pad. I do want to add one more sound because I feel like that will be really important. So I'm going to take a poly synth. Let's bring in, God, these red light glasses are kind of making my head hurt because the headphones are squishing them so much. Let's take a listen to what this sounds like. Make it nice and plucky. Oh, I guess it's coming through on the pad. That's why. Okay. So we've got this. Maybe we could do, I don't know how this would work, but maybe we could try and do just like some letters. We could do like A, B, C, D. I don't know how this is going to work. It should just almost be an ARP. I don't know. I'm not sure. I've literally never done this before. But I would love to have like a digga digga digga, like that kind of thing. So we've got our ARP here. Let's just make sure that this is turned on. And let's give it a go. So let's just throw this into the mix. So it's not being an ARP. Maybe if we edit this to do like... Maybe we'll just do another letter as well. So it's like... Maybe we'll do a T. Okay, it could work. Let's bring this up a bit. Maybe we'll bring the old wideness on. Maybe we'll do a random, and we'll do this note, hold, and we'll do this for panning. So it's like a per note kind of pan thing. Maybe we'll do one as well that like opens the filter up a bit, but not bipolar. We'll do one that opens this up a bit. This could be kind of cool. Maybe we'll throw this into our reverb. Okay, let's listen in context. Okay, that's really nice. I'm curious to see how that will happen with the ARP, or sorry, with the transpose, and whether we should just keep that locked. Yes, so this should be locked. And let's start to bring some of these guys back in now. Oh, and actually we should make this a little excessive. And then we'll use the cutoff, or this one, to make it a bit smaller again. Okay, nice. So now as we start to bring this down, so we'll call this small. Start to bring these other drums back in. Just for good measure, let's take a little EQ on the master channel. And we'll use this. Ah! Not quite. We've got to do that same fucking thing and just map this to Q with it paused. Bitwig, if you're watching this, it would be cool if you could set that up so it doesn't do that. I don't know necessarily if it's super useful, particularly when you're jamming out like this, but maybe I'm just an edge case in the way that I'm using it. But yeah, let's get going. So we've got our small knob here, but we should also make one that makes everything big. So let's have everything playing for a sec, and we'll go back. This kick could probably be a bit louder. We probably want to set this to the same key, which is A. So let's make this big one. Also, oh, it's the ARP. It's because it's getting it from channel 5 as well. Okay, so this should be coming out of channel 6. There we go. Okay, so you should be receiving it from channel 6. There we go. Okay, so let's make one which makes everything bigger now. Very important to make that bass huge. And also, instead of just making things bigger, let's make it so that we have this note hold. And we'll do some sort of like little motion movements here to make it all a little bit random. So this is just doing a little something to make it a bit more wonkier. And then we'll actually have these have the amount down. But then this knob will bring the amount up. So as it gets bigger, it doesn't just make the sound bigger, but it also increases the amount of chance that that randomization is going to happen. Oh, my clap isn't playing. We're really, really chunking into this now, aren't we? Okay, I guess this, classic. We need to stop that and put that to Q, because this is supposed to be on when it's playing. So there we go. So now we've got... Okay, really nice. Maybe we'll also add a reverb. Once again, we've got to stop it, unfortunately, to turn this off. That's not what we want. We want a Q, not a 1. So now with it playing. Oh, that's so good! Okay, really nice. Let's bring it bigger. Oh, we were actually supposed to make things bigger on these other sounds as well. So we'll make this pluck a bit bigger, a bit more noise. Maybe the pad as well. We'll make the pad have a bit more fold, a bit more noise, open the filter a bit, little less attack. Maybe make the reverb a bit bigger, bigger delay. Bit of resonance, fuck it, why not? Bit of sub, bit of whatever this is called, frequency modulation. And here we go. Let's start to bring some of these out now then. So let's mute the lead. Could also change the bass line a bit. So we'll say bassy, face, ha ha, lol, bass, a few times bass fun, and we'll just say sax. Maybe we'll actually go to the pad and change this to just be coming from one pattern. So now it's actually being sequenced by the bass. Okay, that's really nice. Now I'm going to stop it for a sec because one of the really cool things that you can do with this is just change the key. So we could actually just now adjust the key to be something different. I probably should just go in here and make sure that I did do something with the pad where I turned this on. I don't want to have to fuck around with this. We were in a pentatonic key at the moment, which the only problem with that means that we can't actually go up 7 scale degrees. We would go up 5 and then 2 more again. So I want to show you this bloom control, because I think this is actually a really nice feature, particularly for when you're kind of jamming out. So I do just want to find a scale that we can jam in for a second. So why don't we do, crazy, we've gone from now being in major pentatonic, oh, so warm, so lovely, so gentle. We're now going to go to Hijaz, which is a Middle Eastern scale, which sounds truly dark as fuck. So why don't we try that out? And the way that I'm going to do this is actually just mute a bunch of these things, and we're going to bring them in slowly. So we'll just see what this sounds like. So we'll start with maybe also biltong, and then maybe we'll do a different bass line. So we'll just say like bass, bass, bass. I don't know why I'm saying bass, but we'll say I don't know why. Bass. Okay, so we'll just chuck that in. So right now we just have also biltong and the bass. We're doing Hijaz. We could even pick a different root note just to like fully cleanse our palette. We're going to do E Hijaz. So again, everything is now going to be completely different. Okay, so blah 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 blah. Let's cleanse our ears and let's give this a go. I'm going to start small, and I'm also going to mute some of these sounds just so that we begin without them. So let us jump in with Hijaz. This is strange. Oftentimes as well, like, you know, what worked in one scale might not sound super nice in another. So we could change this and I say, I enjoy biltong as well. Okay, that's very cool. Let's bring in pain gain. Huh, I mean, you can see how fucking cool this is. Let's bring in this little ARP thing. And of course, changing scales with something with now 7 notes is going to sound really interesting. Let's maybe go up to. Then we'll go up 4. We'll turn off this bass. Oh, let's keep it playing. So what we can do is just clear this and now start again, do something a little bit kind of darker. So let's start with this on small and we'll try and do a nice little bass line. We'll do like on channel 2 because we know that's bass. We'll maybe even just like copy some random words. I'm just going to Google words, and I'm just going to copy and paste this sentence and just see what it sounds like. So, okay, now we're going to say a sentence, and we're just going to copy a random sentence. In English writing, a sentence usually begins with a capital letter. Cool, okay, we're going to do that on channel 1. Oh, we need to go back to 0. Let's change the tempo a bit faster. You sometimes need to stop that and start it again just to get it to sync up. Oh, that's really cool. I'm feeling like this pluck thing, it would be nice if we had maybe some sort of like chance of it doing like this. Maybe we'll actually bring the volume down. And when that does, so that doesn't happen all the time, we'll make it so that randomly that happens on certain notes. So we'll do per voice, make sure that it's synced. We'll do hold, note. Okay, that's cool. Let's do something with the pad. That was on channel 3, I guess. Okay, so we'll say Hijaz. Let's just Google it and see what we come up with. Hijaz is a historical and geographical region of Saudi Arabia. Okay. So we've got our pad here. Oh, I guess for the pad, in order to have... Oh, I did English writing again as well. Oh, that's cool. Let's bring the reverb down. Obviously, we can use these macros to do some crazy shit, like send the bass through to the delay. Maybe we could send this pluck through channel 5, actually. Okay, that's very nice. What was the ARP going through? Channel 6. So we'll do 6, we'll say ARP, ARPy, ARP, ARPy, haha. Maybe we'll just do... Let's actually take a macro for this rather than having it be turning it on and off, you know? Where are you? Actually, maybe we can set these Same old thing. We can set these to just actually turn off with a key. So we'll do Q turns these guys, toggle set value to 0. Okay, dope. So in theory, if I do this, it should set them to 0. Okay, nice, 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 nice. So let us get back in the groove. Ah, god damn it, that's so irritating. Okay, we'll turn that off and that on. Okay, so here we go. Let's get into the mix of things. And I'm also going to turn this guy to go to 100% when that's on. So here we go, let's jam. And I'm actually, just for good measure, let's take the master output. And I'm just going to record the audio out of this. So let's get jamming. No song structure, doesn't really matter, we don't need it. Of course, because this record is enabled, but we're clocking from outside, it's not going to come in until we press play on anything. So let's mute some of these guys, and let's just get going, baby. So let's make sure that this is at its smallest amount. And cool, let's get going. Ready? If I had my MIDI controller set up with knobs, this would be so much better. If you go back here, do some sort of weird MIDI thing. That's fucking funky! Maybe we can start to bring some of these in a little bit, but just turn them on and off slightly. So here we go. And as you can see, what's really nice is that I suppose I could actually be recording the MIDI of all of these too. But yeah, what's really nice is that you'll see as I start to bring these in, it's only actually recording in the notes that get burst through. Okay, let's start to bring it up a bit. Now I'm going to take out the kick. Okay, now we're moving into the space. Okay, cool. Let's send this conga. Same thing with the shaker. Okay, so let's bring this up a bit. Let's go to the master. Just make sure that it's kind of annoying that I can't now turn that off. Maybe if I do it real quick. There's no way I'm going to be able to be quick enough. Nope. Maybe we could just do it here while we're at it. So what is this? Master, reverb, get rid of, master control. Okay, nice. Master, fucking hell, where is it? Stretch this out, master EQ. Okay, there we go. Okay, so my idea is that as we start to bring this up, I can now start to bring these guys in. So Bloom is this very cool feature that allows you to actually scale it back down to just roots. So this is just the root note, and as you start to get to like somewhere halfway-ish, you start to add more notes in. So this is a really nice way of like building energy. I'm going to implement this on a per channel basis soon. So let's go here. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Let's bring something in on channel 1. Ha 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 ha. Sex is fun. Is it really though? Super nice. Obviously, this would be way easier if we had some MIDI controllers, and also this would be way easier if I made this into an actual plugin. But for now, making it just browser-based has been a lot easier than trying to actually build a plugin that works cross-platform in all different DAWs. Anybody can use this. And again, if you're interested in playing around with it, link is in the description down below. This was really fun, but how long have we been recording for? About an hour. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm just going to save this. Let's save this in our, we'll go to music, Bitwig 6 beta, and we'll call this Hijaz test. Because I just want to show you as well how nice this can be to actually just create something a lot slower. So one other cool feature as well is that you can actually save these presets. I'm going to get rid of these sex ones. They're not fun, and I don't want my priest to see them. But if I just click save, it actually asks you for a name, so we could just say Hijaz, and it would download that as a JSON file. So if you have a look at what it looks like, for fuck's sake, it's always opening in Xcode. Yeah, I mean, it looks like this. It's just basically all of the information that we've got in there. It's a pretty large file, and it starts to get really, really large. But if you want, you just clear that, you know. I do a refreshed page now. All I do is just click load, and you can then just open it up and everything is back as it was, which is fucking killer because, you know, sometimes you just want to start something new. So I'm just going to do clear. And let's go down here because I want to show you doing something like, let's try this. I'm a big fan of this Scottish pentatonic scale. But I'm going to bring the tempo down real slow. I'm going to connect to my MIDI and I'm going to press play. 60 isn't actually that slow. I should probably set it up so that you could go slower. But I want to just load on something and just see what we could do to make a kind of more ambient sound. So let's just take a giant reverb, just for good measure. I'm going to go here, I'm going to turn voices up, still same key, and we'll leave that as is for now, but we'll go back and just see. Okay, so let's say Brian Birin, Biryani Eno. Biryani, is that how you spell the name of the curry? No, there's no Y there. Why am I doing this? Why on earth am I doing this? Biryani Eno invented ambient music. Okay, so let's just send this out and we'll see what we get coming through. Okay, so one of the other features I didn't show you is that obviously we have this bloom feature here, which is really nice. But we've also got density. Density, if I put it all the way to the left, no note is going to play. As I increase this a little bit, there's going to be now a 15% chance that one of these will play. And at a certain point, Obviously it's very slow, but this is cool once we start layering things up, because I could now say time stands still when you're delayed at the airport. So let's throw this in too. It's really, really lovely that. Let's go back and duplicate this channel, and we're gonna pick channel 2 for this one. And in this one, I'm gonna take a triangle wave, but I'm also gonna take a pretty crazy LFO and use that on panning. I'm gonna take another crazy LFO, and I'm gonna use this on skew. And then I'm also gonna take a giant delay, like a really, really stupidly big one. And I'm going to make this left and right, and then in this wet effects, maybe we'll do... I really don't know what I'm doing, by the way. Sometimes you guys say, like, how do you know what are you doing? And I don't. I have no fucking clue. It's just I move with the fingers. So let's give this a go. Let's see what happens if we now throw in something on channel 2. So we'll say, I am a tiny little man in an enormous universe. So here we go. It's going to take a second to actually start the clock. I don't like that pitch shifter, that sounds horrible. Maybe we'll actually bring this down an octave. That's really, really lovely. Let's take, just for good measure, we do love a little sine wave clock. So we can take another reverb. You can never have too many reverbs. I recently just wiped my laptop and started again from scratch. And so, like, look at my plugins. I feel like I'm always making videos talking about this. I have 2 plugins. I have Scalar EQ and Waves Factory. But let's take this little pluck thingamajig here. And we'll do no low pass, because that kind of fucks it up a bit. I'm also going to take the delay here, and we'll do a 1-1 delay. We'll make it left and right with a little bit of stereo spread. And maybe we'll put that in the actual wet effects. So let's go. Let's change this to channel 3. And I'm going to say, Carl Sagan quote. You know, I'm really getting that Carl Sagan vibe. We're going to do, ooh, We Are Star Stuff. That's nice. You'll notice that it actually stops playing when you leave the browser. So let's make sure that we... really, really nice. Let's do another Carl Sagan thing. We'll do something a little longer this time. So channel 3. It might be a bug how slow it is to start if I start again. That's really, really nice though. Why don't we also take this, and I'm gonna duplicate this sound, make this channel 4, and then we'll make this, instead of a triangle wave, we'll do, oh, a swarm. Nice. We'll bring the volume down, we'll do pitch. We'll do a transpose. We'll put it up. What scale is this? This is A. Let's hopefully it's like an A major pentatonic, because I'm going to actually put this into this scale mode here, and then I'm going to do a multi-note, and I'm also going to do a humanize and bring the chant down. Timing is fine. Let's do, say, a 3. We're going to put this in here. We are using a couple of the new Bitwig 6 features. Whoa-hey! Okay, so let's try this. We'll do another sentence. It really doesn't matter what it is. The goal is to discover. So let's do channel 4 now. I mean, this is just so beautiful. Oh yeah, I was going to say then, so density is nice, because if we bring this down, not every note will play, and you start to have not just like this polymetric pattern, but you start to have like, oh, maybe that's a little too high. Oh, that is very nice though. We'll do a random, yeah, you don't, it's not just then you have this polymetric cycling, but you then also have the real magic of the fact that it's like, maybe not every step will even play. Oh, that's really, really lovely. Let's go to this, and maybe we'll do the echo, put this in scale as well. I don't actually know how this thing works. I've always just wiggled things and like hoped it works. Maybe dribble, does that? No, what's the other one called? It's called ricochet. Nope. If we go to MIDI effects here. Oh, that's going up a little too high for my liking. Maybe we'll also duplicate this. And let's take whatever multi-note thing we had and put this at the beginning here. But we're going to put an ARP. And we're going to put ARP, obviously, also in this mode. And we'll do some sort of little scales here. Let's put this down a sine wave. It's really, really lovely, that. Is this the one with the sharp sound? Yeah, okay, so I don't like that sound. Let's change this maybe to phase. And yeah, like, we haven't even fucking explored just recording this out. Because this is just so satisfying. How great is the new Bitwig Zoom? Let's just close all of this shit up. And, I mean, how wonderful. I have to say, Bitwig 6, I was a little bit disappointed. A little bit disappointed when I opened it up. Just because, you know, I'm a sucker for new toys, and it didn't really seem like there was any new toys. But I have to say, playing around with it, it is really satisfying. I've been really enjoying the new automation flow is really, really cool. Again, I'm going to dive into making a longer video on this shortly, but oh, that's just so stunning. Let's add a scalar EQ to the mix, and we're going to say, go away. Detect key, I mean, I know what key it is. Oh, fair enough. Oh, that's really, really magical. Let's bring the density up. What about if we bring the tempo up? Stop it and start it again. Now, one of the sad things is that you can't actually at the moment use words and gestures at the same time. But I'm working on that. I'm going to try and figure out a way to actually have multiple sequences running in the same window, so you'll be able to effectively like have words here, slide it to the side, and then get to work on gestures to run them side by side. But I'm actually just going to wrap it up there. I think this has been a really nice exploration of how to use the new... Oh, thanks guys. Of how to use the new sequencer in Sequins.com. And of course, if you want to actually play around with this, all you have to do is go to Sequins.music and sign up. It is free while it is in beta. Let's just go back to having me in big so that I can bid you guys farewell with not just a full heart, but a full face. If you've enjoyed this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and smash that notification bell too if you would like to keep up with my future videos. But in the meantime, happy Friday, friends, and happy creating.